Hello, the people are joining. So wait some second to have the attendees coming in. Great. So I think we can start in a few seconds. So it's my pleasure to welcome you in this General Assembly of eShape. It's a new format for us. It will be totally virtual. So I hope that the experience will be great and will be for all of you interesting enough to stay for the long days we have. So that's a great pleasure to try to be as close as possible to real condition and to welcome you here. So we will wait for a few seconds, as maximum 2 minutes, in order to have the people inside, or maybe less than that. And I will start presenting. And I think you can see my screen with all the information related to that will come for this session. So welcome on board and welcome to this virtual General Assembly of eShape. We should have been somewhere in Athens, but due to the COVID situation, we are experimenting new ways of sharing information and trying to make our community alive. And so that's my pleasure to present you this General Assembly and to have with us a series of events that will be chaired during the 3 days. For all of you, it will be open. Most of the most of the session will be open, and we will have some specific event on Wednesday morning, which is only reserved for the partner of eShape. So we have a large series of events, and today we have the first one, which is linked with this plenary session with the welcome and opening remarks coming from the European Commission and from myself, trying to set the scene and present you what's happened this last month in eShape. We have an interesting way of sharing activity, which is a live poster and demo session. You will see this kind of session on the 3 days, trying to have a kind of equivalence to a poster session or a live demo that will be open to anyone. So you will have the opportunity, thanks to the tool set up by our partner Convene and with the help of NOAA, you will have the possibility to go from one session to the other and to see the different poster and presentation. And I hope you will be as close as possible to real condition. And you can see through the interface that you have also the possibility to interact one by one through chats and through different tools with the rest of the community and all the persons that are connected in the tool. So that's, I hope it will be for you a good experience, we try to design it as much as we can to be interactive, and hopefully it will be. And so that will be the second part of the morning. And the third part will be a plenary session dedicated to part of the job achieved on this last year and a bit more on the development of pilot and the interaction with user that will be presented, and then the status and challenge of the EU infrastructure. And we will have a second live poster session with some demo again, and with new subject that will be shared by all of you, and a short lunch break, let's say 1 hour. And we will have then the breakout session in the afternoon that will be presented on two subjects. One which is the EU infrastructure and how to leverage them, and also the introduction of the newly launched H2020 project that are also linked with eShape, and we will have a specific discussion with them in order to share our experience and to see how we can work together on the near future and exchange experience and trying to cluster our activity maybe. And we will also have a short feedback from the breakout session that will be organized in order that the people that can not attend to one of these sessions can see also what's happened in the other one. The next step will be open chat room, which is a tool which is offered by the platform that is designed for the conference, that allowed to have one-to-one discussion live, so using camera and microphone, but also a kind of speed dating tool that allowed to engage randomly some of the participants in a 4-minute session and to share some discussion and to share around that and around your experience in the virtual General Assembly. So I think that everything is clear for today. If you have some question, you can use the chat and ask for more information. But let's start with this first session with the welcome from EASME by Erwin Goor, and I will stop sharing my screen and give the floor to you, Erwin.
Thank you, Thierry. So in the meantime, you should be seeing my slides. Can you confirm? And you should see me. It's fine.
Yes.
Okay, thanks. So indeed, thanks a lot for inviting me to say at least a few words. I will not have that many slides, just a few, just to share you some thoughts, some challenges we see when we started eShape, let's say when we issued the call, and some expectations, of course, we have for eShape and where we really count on eShape to further deliver on EuroGEO, so a bit setting the scene as an introduction. So maybe I start first with EuroGEO. So as Thierry, does this work? Yes. As Thierry already, just a second, because my presentation is, oops, let me, just a second. Yeah, I'm back. So indeed, so as Thierry said, or as at least as I saw on your website, the big slogan you have is "We eShip EuroGEO," which of course we love a lot because the call was titled "Establishing EuroGEO." So this proves that you really understand what we needed. My colleague Jean Dusart from DG RTD will introduce you after my first introduction, EuroGEO, which is quite important, I think, because Thierry said already that we have also today not only the eShape participants, but we are open to the public, and we have some representative from projects who just started and who would also eager to contribute to EuroGEO. But let me first share your few thoughts. So if I look in your website, you mentioned the co-design, of course, which is of course ideal to act really Eurocentric, to not only in terms of getting requirements on board from users, but also to develop the go-to-market strategy together with them. Also on the implementation, I think we all know that the work which is led by Marie-Françoise, but of course on which many of you contribute, this has raised the attention of, for example, DG DFIS from Copernicus unit and then ESA. So it proves that's really the work which you are doing there and the feedback which you are giving is really needed by the community. So I think this is very, very positive. Also the user uptake, for example, so supporting pilots to bring them to the next level. And then of course all the measures you take, so the access to knowledge, technology, marketing, capital, it's clear that it's really needed to guarantee the sustainability and the upscaling of all the different actions you do. So it's very, I mean, this all contributes exactly to what EuroGEO wants to aim, and Jean will detail on that later on. I just want to raise the point that it's not only effect, of course, of doing it, but as well on we also expect of you to, of course, as well that you communicate about it, that you disseminate your results, your thoughts about it, that you disseminate your lessons learned, your experience, and so on. And of course, you do. You have the eShape help desk, which is quite centrally in your approach, and this is for me the ideal vehicle to share all this. So we really count on you to do this as well. Of course, this is only one aspect. So the horizontal layers of eShape is one aspect which is very interesting. But there's of course as well the pilots, the different showcases, the 27 pilots today. But I understand that tomorrow we will learn that there will be some new pilots joining soon. And of course, these should be really success stories of EuroGEO, and not only of eShape, but as well as EuroGEO. So we really want to learn there how European assets and how GEO assets, Copernicus and GEO as a whole, can really be used to have an impact on the users. And it's not only we have today 27 pilots, and I hope that this will be 27 pilots on which we can be very proud to show them to the other, to the Americans and the Asian EuroGEO members, let's say, as European contributions, but not only just showing what they do, but as well, of course, showing more or less, how should I say, the engine behind the pilot. So which data they are using, Copernicus data, GEO data, which platforms they are using. For example, the DIAS, the TEPS, NextGeos. So NextGeos, they had a summit 2 weeks ago. So it's also interesting to see how this can also flow into EuroGEO. I think that's very important, and not only, of course, showing which data is used, which platform is used, but as well, I mean, running a pilot is much more than that. It's also engaging with the users, engaging also with local people who really understand the user and can really, I mean, it's more than just putting some data through a platform and getting some results. It's really making an application which fits the needs of a user. Is much more than that. You also need to put your local knowledge into that, and your knowledge about the whole system, let's say. So we hope, of course, that we will have 27 and even more from tomorrow success stories, which really tell us what EuroGEO is about. Then if I go back, and it seems that I have some itch my PowerPoint for some reason. Sorry for that. Okay, I will just navigate through this. I will do it that way. It's not so convenient, but it's the best I can offer now. A second point, of course, is the collaboration. So for me, a collaboration is about people working together. And those who attended the kickoff meeting, it was clear that I think one of my first slides I showed you the silos. So I really wanted to break the silos within the team. So it's EuroGEO or eShape brings together 55 pilots, and we really want to see that they start communicating and start sharing results, and that's very important for me. And of course, not only between each other, but as well to the whole community. So for example, this onboarding is a clear, very good point, that you've taken this message seriously, and that you're open to the world, and not only to your own consortium partners, but as well open to the world. And of course, needless to say, that also communication and dissemination is key into that. And I want to stress really that communication, although you have, of course, a very good communication partner and team on board, it's really the obligation and the task of every single participant of eShape to take part of this communication. So all the pilots that need, of course, to be ambassadors for EuroGEO as a whole, and to really show the strengths of what we can do in Europe here. And then, of course, finally, there is then the exploitation. We really want to, not only to keep the knowledge which we gathered here within the eShape team, which is growing, of course, but still, it's still not the whole community. We really ask you to bring all these assets to the public, to the wider EuroGEO community. Now, if I then take maybe the next slide. So let's take this one. Technical evolutions. That's something else. So of course we realize, of course, that it's very hard for you. I mean, EuroGEO. I mean, GEO is really undergoing many changes thanks to this disruptive technologies which are all coming, and you see a few on my slides here. But of course they are not standing still; they are evolving. We have, of course, today the 5D assets, but nobody knows how they will look like within 5 years. The same for the TEPS, for example, and new things come up, like, for example, I mentioned next year's, but there's as well the feed up from eco potential and so on. So many assets, and the landscape is highly defragmented, and it's clear that I mean this will change, and I think you need to realize that you as eShape, you has, of course, a lot to say in this. It will be thanks to your continued effort to show what works, what is really strong, and where we can really leverage on. I think this is really contributing to the further changing of the landscape, I would say. So we really count on you as well to communicate well about this and to really take an asset on it. Also, I mentioned is, for example, also the data cubes. So when we started eShape 1.5 years ago, data cubes was not really that much mentioned in your project, but of course we have now today many operational, semi-operational data cubes. For example, also the Euro data cube. It would be really interesting to also see this being taken up by one of the pilots, of course, where it's relevant, and then to share some experience and see what it really brings to the community. And of course, artificial intelligence, machine deep learning, and heterogeneous data from different sensors. All this, of course, we are really eager to learn what is being used. And please don't take a snapshot today and continue working like that for the next 2 years. No, be open to what changes and what new things do come up, and then we can, of course, start from that. So as a last point, I wanted to mention the Cordis result packs on environmental observations. That's an result pack is, let's say, we take stock of what several projects did develop, and you see here some, so for example, GeoCradle, but as well some citizen observed related projects like GROW and so on. Atlantis, more working on the oceans, Ecopotential, more on biodiversity. So this result packs, it does not tell, of course, all the details of the project, but of course the point is to the different websites. But at least it shows a story of this project from a user point of view. I think it's a very interesting document for you to read. So you see the URL here below. I think the slides will be distributed so you can find it later on. Very interesting. But what I would really like to mention here as well is that normally a result pack contains only projects which finalized recently. So we really want to take stock of their results, and you do not take stock, of course, of results of a project which just started. But still, we put eShape in this list, so beyond amongst all the other projects which had already delivered their results, simply to really show that for us, eShape is really a flagship project, and we really expect a lot from eShape to further establish this EuroGEO, to further make it well known and really have an enormous impact on the community. And therefore, due to its strategic importance, we already put eShape into this results pack. So we just need to say that, and this would be my final words, that we really count on you to further establish EuroGEO. And I can only say that I met at least many of you 1.5 years ago. I'm very proud to be your project advisor, and I'm really enjoying the work a lot with working with many of you, not of course all, that's not possible, but with many of you. And I really wish you a lot of success in these 3 days General Assembly. I wish to learn a lot from where you are, which progress you made, and good luck, and we see each other in the next 3 days. Over to you, Thierry.
Thanks a lot, Erwin, for this presentation and for this introduction, and all the good comments you made on the job we did. And we are very proud also to try to contribute to EuroGEO and the whole picture. So it's time for Jean Dusart to present EuroGEO. So the floor is yours, Jean.
Thank you, Thierry. Good morning, everybody. Let me try to share my screen as well. I hope you can see the presentation.
Perfectly.
Okay, good. So let's start. Welcome to this eShape General Assembly, and I've been asked by Thierry and the organizer of this General Assembly to say a few words about EuroGEO, because some of you are new to this community. Most of the eShape partners know what EuroGEO is, but there are new commercial projects that have recently been awarded under the Horizon 2020 program that might not know what EuroGEO stands for. So the objective was really to focus on what could be the European component of the GEO, the Group on Earth Observation, with the idea to be able to deliver an integrated European contribution. And as well, because it has to go in both directions, to increase what GEOS could bring to Europe. So I have to say that the overall idea was that EuroGEO should act as an incubator in cooperation with, of course, the Copernicus program, which remains the main contribution of Europe to GEO, the various European countries and GEO members, and organizations that produce or use Earth observation data, with the idea to produce and test Earth observation service and application. That could, of course, benefit and make use of the global data sets made available through GEOS, but as well produce data and service that could be reused in GEOS. All on this makes the use of the existing infrastructure sometimes developed in the context of the Copernicus program, like the DIAS, but as well developed by the many Horizon 2020 projects that we have funded in the course of the last 7 years. Of course, we tried as much as possible to foster and to engage on those 3 keywords that are a bit the leitmotif of EuroGEO: cooperate, coordinate, and combine. And we consider and we see eShape as a very important component of EuroGEO because it's really the first and the most contributing project to date that helps EuroGEO to strengthen benefits for Europe of GEOSS. How do we do that? We have two main channels that we use. One is the classic one that most of you are familiar, is the fixed term projects, so the grants that are awarded to the Horizon 2020 program like eShape, and hopefully by its successor, Horizon Europe, which is still in the making. We use as well Copernicus or existing collaboration with the Space Agency and other programs, including national programs. And then we developed something quite innovative the last 2 years. It's the creation of action groups to collaborate, benchmark, combine existing development, leverage application along the value chain. All this in the same spirit that makes the originality of the Group on Earth of Observation. So EuroGEO as it's a contribution to GEO, is not a standalone initiative that is completely disconnected from GEO. No, it's part of the overall GEO Work Programme as a regional initiative. So at the same level as the classical GEO flagships initiatives and community activities. Of course, we try as well to align our priorities on what has been agreed at the global level, so what we call the GEO engagement priorities, the Paris Agreement, the Sustainable Development Goals, and the Disaster Risk Reduction Framework. This work program is updated on an annual basis to reflect new priorities like the COVID crisis, what has been agreed the last GEO week in Canberra, and that was translated in the Canberra Declaration. And we see really this as a unique opportunity to contribute to the implementation of GEOSS and to foster the GEOSS uptake by users in Europe. We see as well EuroGEO as an integrator that enables to fold different public Earth observation downstream activities in Europe under the same umbrella. This work program is developed along a number of spheres of activities. I will not go through all of them, but we report on a regular basis on the progress made, and of course the progress made on those different activities depends very much of what is done in each individual Horizon 2020 project. Where do we stand today? We consider that now, after 3 years of existence, EuroGEO is a relatively mature initiative. The work program was not done and prepared by the sole European Commission, but it was co-designed with the community, and it's currently implemented. The community is mobilized around the action groups to develop pre-operational Earth observation service. And we consider that Horizon 2020 and Horizon Europe and the Copernicus program are able to provide the needed framework to get the initiative to develop. Of course, the initiative has to evolve. We think that it could become really a stronger community of practice, engaging the entire community and translating this willingness to cooperate and to coordinate each other better. So as conclusions, what is the added value of EuroGEO? So to be an incubator, a facilitator in the downstream part of the value chain, and complementing Copernicus, so we have absolutely no intention to duplicate the efforts and all the mechanisms put in place by the Copernicus program to reach its end user. So we want this EuroGEO to be the voice of Europe in the GEO community, to engage with its member states, not only with the Horizon 2020 projects, with the participating organization in all the GEO flagships. So that means that we try as well. We don't want to isolate ourselves in the GEO initiative, but we want to make sure that Europe is well represented in all the GEO flagships, initiative, community activities, and it's the case the strong European presence in GeoGlam, for example. We think that EuroGEO could be as well a good place or community to try to better anticipate the new Earth observation landscape, to try to identify what are the missing service in situ gaps, or could we better integrate and do fusion of citizen or object-driven observation, still maintain this connection with science. And it's an excellent opportunity as well to pilot activities to make regional capabilities globally available via GEOSS. And I think that was my last slide. Thank you very much for your attention. Thierry, the floor is yours.
Thanks a lot, Jean, to set up the picture for EuroGEO and reminding all these details and objective about this regional GEO, which is a key element of constructing GEO. So before going to the question and answer part of this session, I should first present you all the progress we have done in this last months. And so I will share again my screen. And so I think you can see my screen now. So let's go to what's happened this last month, series of months within eShape, trying to give you a flavor of where we are. Of course, a reminder about what we are doing and what will be the future of what we are planning soon. So let's go back to some reminder for some of you on what is eShape. So the idea is really to strengthen the benefit for Europe of GEO, but also to strengthen GEO about the benefit from Europe. And so we are in this aim of supporting the EuroGEO Regional GEO and really to push as much as we can to make the program of EuroGEO a reality and showing the benefit of all the assets in Europe and all the strengths of Europe for the Earth observation domain, developing activity, and also creating at the end of the day some job in the European landscape. So the idea is really to position Europe as a global force in Earth observation. That's already the case through Copernicus. But what we have in mind is also to prove that we are able to construct on this and to develop new activity, new services that will go to operationality. And that's our vision, to develop operational services with and for the users. And that's key in our work to contribute to new operational services that are developed with and for the users. Without taking into account the user, we can largely miss the target and only have new services that are not used by anyone. So to do so, we are creating an environment where all the strengths of Europe can be exploited in the different societal challenge and trying to reinforce entrepreneurship and to support sustainable development of all this activity. So, as you have already understand by within the two presentations, eShape is more than a project. It's contributing. Of course, we have all the duty of a European project, developing a work plan and delivers all what we claim to deliver. But also, we are really contributing to EuroGEO and through EuroGEO to the GEO, the group on Earth observation, trying to develop a use of Earth observation for having good decision and helping the good decision to be taken. And as you know, within GEO, we have three main focus: the Sustainable Development Goals, the 17 one, the Paris Agreement, trying to reduce the impact of the climate change and to mitigate it and to work to promote all we can to reduce the temperature of the Earth, and also the disaster reduction, risk reduction activity in the Sendai framework that are also key for all the development. So all these three targets are linked, and we try really to help through eShape to have all the targets in our scope and to be sure that we can fulfill them. Some fast facts for all of you. It's not 54 but 55 partners within eShape. We have 7 showcase, 27 pilot for the moment. It's a 4-year grant, and we are talking about all the topics that are behind the 7 showcase, with a pilot in agriculture, in health, on renewable energy, on ecosystem, on water, on disaster, and on climate. We really want to have at the end of the day 27 and more, as you will see with the onboarding process, pilot, operational, and serving users with the idea of increase the number of users and to fulfill the user uptake that we have in our scope within eShape. Here are the key objectives of the project itself that are aligned, of course, with EuroGEO and with the GEO topics. Develop operational EO service with and for the user, active in key societal domain and sectors, to demonstrate the benefit of the pilot that we are developing using Earth observation in order to have a downstream exploitation of this data and reuse all the resources that are brought by Earth observation. This means by using not only the satellite information, but also the in situ and the models. So this means that we are also looking to crowdsourcing to all type of in situ measurement that are aimed by, given by all type of sensor, including the one that are sometimes a bit surprising, like fisheye camera or a smartphone and stuff like that. So we are really to answer to what was presented by Erwin on the focus also to use data fusion and maybe not data cube for the moment, but there are plans to go to this direction and really to have an exploitation of all type of Earth observation resources. Also, in our objective, we want to promote the uptake of pilots at all scales, all markets, and all type of user community. And that's key that we promote all these activity in order to develop the basis of use of Earth observation and to make it as common as other type of information. So also what we have in objective is the long-term sustainability of all the pilots, their penetration in public and private market, and their support to upscaling. So the idea is not to have a local pilot in one place with not that much information shared with a very small community, but really to go global. And of course, we have in objective to increase the awareness of the solution that we are going to develop through communication, dissemination, and outreach activity. Just, I know it's a bit boring, this type of scheme, but it's something I'd like to present because it's explaining how we are working in eShape. The central part of this scheme is of importance because we have a horizontal work package, like usually showcase and pilot co-design, implementation, user update, capability building and liaison, sustainability and upscaling, and all the usual communication and management. With a new one, which is for the future of importance for all the new European project, the ethics, which is new in our landscape. And you are in a vertical way, the showcase that are used and that are crossing all with this work package, and that will be demonstrated in the last day of this General Assembly, allowing to show how we are applying the different work package in a real case and explaining how to share that. And to do so, we choose the champion of all this thematic area in order to organize the activity. So it's really a matrix of activity. And as you see, there is this strategic activity on the border, which is key also, where we aim to share all our findings with the community in order to improve the knowledge and to go further and further. So we are supporting Copernicus, EuroGEO and GEO in this different way by co-designing and co-create with end user of EO-based services. So this means it's not co-design in the sense that we are working with the people defining the services and building the services, but we are also discussing to include the end user point of view and their needs in the services. That's a new way of tackling this type of development, and you will have a presentation later on about this activity and how we have tackled this problem in trying to improve the way of working with the users. So we also leverage existing distributed assets. So we try to use the GEOSS, but also the GEOSS platform, NextGeos, the European Open Science Cloud, and all the ESA in order to develop the pilot, and also with a strong focus on the data management principle of GEO and the standard interoperability forum recommendation, because we understood that interoperability is key, and that is also a key to success, allowing the people to really build combined services by including a composition of service as an example, in order to really build on existing tools. And of course, we will be targeting the compliance with the INSPIRE directive. Of course, we promote the services in all the market, European and global, through EOMOL, and you will have a demonstration of EOMOL later on, acting as a window to market and on other tools that will be developed during this project and made available for the whole community. So we have developed, in order to boost the European EO sector, a sustainability booster with the aim of improve our market penetration support, and really to go global, but also with the idea of going on a sustainable way with business activity for those who have this target in their mind. And as this activity was already described, we will onboard new pilot and offer them the support of our strategic activity. And you will have the presentation of the new onboarded pilot tomorrow, hopefully. And you will see that we will partially answer to some of the requirement and the idea provided by Erwin on going to the artificial intelligence application, to other type of application that are here underlying the job of all the Earth observation domain, and trying to improve that. Even if we have already some of these points tackled by some of the pilots. So what's happened since this nice picture that was been taken in the French Riviera in May last year? Quite a lot. It was really impressive that we made such a huge work since that time, and it's only part of the schedule, part of the path, and to go to success. But I think it's at least a first step, and you will see on the follow-up what we have achieved since that time. So that's our timeline. So it's really a usual type of timeline that we have. The red point on the middle of the blue line show where we are today on the first General Assembly. So there is some element, and you see we are not even half of the path, but we are on the way, going to different type of assembly, and the next one will be planned in 2020, and we will have some review meetings starting like you have already in a general project, this type of timeline. So in this step today, what we achieved. So we work a lot on the visibility of eShape and the support to EuroGEO. And that was done through a lot of activity in terms of workshop participation. I just mentioned here the main ones, the EuroGEO workshop in Lisbon in July last year, the GEO Week and Plenary in Canberra in November last year, but also the Coordination Day on Brussels, and so much even that I was not able to put all of them in one slide. So it's close to 40 events that the different partners of eShape attend during the 9 months before COVID. And in this 9 months, they all promote eShape and EuroGEO in the different activities, showing the benefit of being inside the project and trying to contribute to EuroGEO. But then we have this COVID situation, and so we try to tune our activity in order to take into account the situation, and we try to contribute to our visibility and to the support to EuroGEO through virtual events. And the General Assembly we are going to conduct this 3 days is one of these virtual events that we try to improve each time. So you had a series of events, at least the EuroGEO webinar that was handled in June, demonstrating some of the activity of eShape, and you can find them on YouTube because they were streamed and registered and made available for anyone. So if you want to go back and see what's happened, it's still online. We work also to contribute to the GEO Work Plan week that was held also in the same month in June. We had a monthly meeting with Copernicus, Relay, and Academy with a presentation in July showing the onboarding process and promoting it. There was a series of EO Cafe, etc., but also webinars, dissemination events. The latest one was with the Spatial Climate Observatory developed by ZNES, talking about climate, and was held last week. And you see, we try to maintain this visibility and showing that we are still here, trying to promote the activity and all the support we can have in EuroGEO. So thanks to this, we had implementing a EuroGEO solution with eShape, acting also in different things through different answer we provide to EuroGEO. You have here the different element that was presented by Jean just before, and you see that we are answering to all of the point that he raised by developing a complete process to co-design, implement, uptake, sustain, and create awareness for the pilot, offer the experience we had and the strategic funding to the EO community, and that's really how we can support the EuroGEO acting as an incubator, the downstream part of the value chain, and complementing Copernicus. We are developing for and with the user EO-based solution with our 55 partners today, and very soon more partners, to have a wide range of actors. This onboarding process is really of importance for us because it's not being in a very blocked environment, but really to enhance the possibility to go further and to have more people and to also share our information with the community. We are fully compliant with the Canberra Declaration, going to the private sector enhancements and participation to all the GEO activity, and we are supporting EuroGEO in this case. And also all the results will contribute to the private sector engagement of GEO, and we are participating to the subgroup working on this domain. And it's not good, but due to the fact that the plenary was reduced to something more smaller, we will not have the full possibility of expressing our results in the next plenary session, but that will be for next year. So we are collaborating with the other regional GEO, trying to adjust the new GEO priority and to go on the Canberra Declaration. And also, we try to anticipate the new EO landscape. We talk about services, in situ gaps, citizen, object-driven observation connected to science. And all the pilots are exploiting this new EO landscape and the new IT solution. And we will have a series of presentations on this General Assembly that will help to demonstrate all of these elements. So to go back to the visibility of eShape and support to EuroGEO, we have the review meeting in June that give us some recommendation and insight, and you have here, of course, I choose to show the best things, and we are working on the questions that occur and all the remarks that that have been proposed by the reviewer. But I remind that we hear about the fact that eShape is very visible within EuroGEO, and that was also confirmed by the presentation of Jean, that we are doing a lot of work to push EuroGEO further, but there is a topic that we should take care about this, because there is no specific action underlined within our work program, that we should not remain hidden behind the project, and also contribute to EuroGEO in a very visible way. And so we will take care about that, of course. You want to participate to this, and to progress in our visibility. So just take an appointment or a tick in your program to go to the breakout session, which is proposed tomorrow from 2 to 3.5, to tune in into eShape and to be an eShape ambassador. It will be present during the breakout session, and you are really welcome to participate to this session and to tick this one on your schedule. Let's go to the co-design. You hear about co-design a lot, and what we have done is really to work with and for the users. That was key in our, in the construction of eShape, and we even asked to all the pilots to come with at least one user, and the reference was one user, one pilot, no user, no pilot. So this is key. It is key for us to have the user on board. And in this co-design activity, we have a methodology that was established by the team, by Pascal Lemasson, Benoît Veil, and Raphaël Barbier, that will present later on, with a two phases approach, a diagnosis and the co-design series of action to set up. And there are 27 use cases and more coming, because we will have this onboarding process this year with 5 new pilots, and next year with 5 additional ones that will also allow to test if what we have designed for the actual use case are good enough to be also applied to other type of case, and also to improve it if there is a need to improve it. And so from the review meeting, we remind that we had this remark that it's a very clear potential for the project pilot and the EuroGEO community to work on this co-design approach. So to give you a flavor of the diagnoses that are being set up by the team, that's really the interconnection between the engaged user and the eShape pilot, which is under focus, and that was explored in order to really have Earth observation that are useful and usable. And you see all type of relation we have identified, and I think you will have more if you want to know more on the plenary session that will be held at 11 on how to develop a pilot for and with the users. And I don't want to say more about that because it's really something that I think it's better to have the good person talking in detail about the benefit of the code design and what brings all of this approach in our domain, which is key. So the progress in our activity is also through the implementation. You can see that in the eShape implementation activity, we have 3 targets: the support to the development and the implementation of the pilot, the monitoring of the progress, and also we want to capture the knowledge and to make it available to all the activity. And this implementation activity are really of importance for all the showcase, for the 7 showcase, and for the 27 pilots that are involved in this implementation activity. And we really want to share this information and really to capture it. And the strategic activity of this will be to capture all the knowledge that we will share during this 4-year project and really to make it available to the community. So what we can keep in mind about this different activity for the moment, that's from the first assessment that have been carried out on all the pilot, that there is a need for capacity building. So it's not so clear, but we need to have a support to have the good tools, the good way of working, and that's provided by our implementation activities. There is a need to have an understandable information about the platform, the standard, the best practice, the data access, and you will see that we try really to push on the platform also to have a clear landscape and an understanding of the different situation and what can be the plus and con of the different platform and what can be used, and if they are using all of the elements we need. And that's really extended the expectation from the project that we had on this first assessment of the 27 pilot. So it's a large panel, and that's really helpful to understand the situation. And we thought that the new incomer will add more to this reflection and to this work. To push on the implementation, we define some sprints. So the first one is in progress. It will be followed by a second assessment to see the progress and to tune the second sprint that will be launched after that. And we have established a methodology for that should be flexible to take into account all the type of situation we have, to capture all the issue, to guide the pilot, to have a regular progress meeting and monitoring, and to capture this progress and solution. And that's not an easy task due to the large amount of work which is achieved through this implementation. And so that's really something which is a difficult task with the support of all the pilot and all the partners. And we had some insight from the review meeting saying that it's an intensive work that have been done also to get a view on all the available platform. I don't remember the exact number, but Marie-Françoise Wardo will present that later on. But I think she explored more than 40 platforms where the pilot show an interest and the need to use them, and how they want to connect with them, and what type of support is needed. So that's really a rich set of information, which is valuable, not only for the project, for the entire EuroGEO community. And we start sharing this information in different webinar and presentation, thanks to the job achieved by by our partner GEO, and also with the collaboration we have with the previous project Next GEOSS, which ended this month. And so there is really an enormous potential in the project to share hands-on experience and support. And so that will be also in our focus for the coming time. And we hope we will be able to share really all this information, which is of interest to all the community, not only our own community, but the EuroGEO community, and if we can, to go further with the GEO community. So, of course, I cannot imagine you don't want to know more, but at least if you want to know more on the status and the challenge of the different infrastructure, take a look to the session at 11 that will be shared with the pilot co-design approach between 11 and 12:30, and on the breakout session of this afternoon, and trying to learn how we can leveraging the EU infrastructure with the participation, hopefully, of most of the DIAS and platforms that are of interest for the community, for the partners, and for the community of EuroGEO. And also, of course, there will be a plenary session tomorrow morning talking about the agile development in E-shape, showing also how we can handle the things and share the information. So at that stage, we have now a series of activities that have been prepared and starting a lot, and we have some insight also coming from the review meeting, but not on all. So this means that on the follow-up it will be less in visibility, but at least the progress in the user uptake, capacity building, and liaison are progressing, and since the review a lot have been done. So we are tackling the user uptake, of course, with the idea of increasing the number of potential users through promotion of all the activity. So this means that we are doing some survey and identifying the primary user community, creating a network of secondary connection community, really to go outside the EU community and to go to the user community, really, and to have a joint action plan with a key organization that we are focusing on. And that will be done through a series of workshops that have taken a bit of delay due to the COVID, but that are going back to the front of our activity due to the fact that the virtual sessions are easier to organize, and that we have gained on this capacity of making them online. There is a lot of activity also to provide in terms of capacity building with a set of support action and that allow to strengthen the capacity and share the information about the potential use of EO services. So we have a first guide from best practice capacity building, and we are working on capacity building models on the different topic that we are handling in terms of co-design, in terms of implementation, of use of platform, and so on and so forth. And there is, of course, this EO Wiki that will be also demonstrated in the live session that will be of interest for the community in terms of capacity building. We will also try to engage with the stakeholders through the institutional alignment in order to have a kind of multiplier around us that can also share the work that we have done and uptake all the activity we are preparing. So we kick off a series of work with a maturity indicator that will kick off after the review meeting, trying also to evaluate where the different countries are in terms of use of Earth observation and in terms of market of Earth observation and all the elements around that. So we have the first roadmap for identification and interaction with the priority and the challenge, which is in progress, in order really to engage all the stakeholders in eShape and in EuroGEO. And so there is a lot of potential to be materialized and applied by the pilot in the next year of the project. So you see all the work is in front of us. So in terms of sustainability and upscaling, which is also in focus in what we are doing, you can see that and you can explore the sustainability support booster on this address, which is in front of you, the sustainability.eshape.eu, and you will of course find it very easily through the through our website. And there is a series of tools that are available on this sustainability support booster with an IP, so intellectual property and innovation office, and the first market trend observatory, which is called the Insight, that allow also to have an idea of what's happened in the different thematic area and market we are looking for within eShape. And more is going to come, of course, as it's the first they are in the first months of this sustainability support booster, and there will be improvements in the future years and months and years that are coming. This sustainability and upscaling is also done through the onboarding process. I think most of you have seen the different announcements about this activity, and we have operated the selection, and the vote on the onboarding the pilot was handled last week for all the partners that have to give their advice on should we include or not the different pilots that have been selected. And so you will see the result of this onboarding process tomorrow. So I will not say more about that. About the fact that the number of application was amazing. We were expecting 11 that, and it was more than 30 pilots that were proposed. And you will see all the elements tomorrow. And that was really, really impressive in my point of view, that we have such a good answer for the community, showing that really it was eShape is really answering to something which is under focus for all the Earth observation community and for the EO market at large. The fact that there is a need for support to developing this type of services and pilot, and that there is a need for having a complete help in all the domain from the research activity to the market growth of all the elements, all steps that are needed in order to have operational service at the end of the day. So that was really a nice message, and at least I keep it as a very strong interest of all the community in what we are doing. We also define during this sustainability and upscaling activity a new type of indicators, a tool which is called a pilot exploitation readiness level. Most of you are well knowing the technical readiness level, allowing to know if we are at the beginning of the research or at the end of the development of full services, which was used in the space domain for a long time. But we try to improve that through new indicators that will be under interest and standardized in the future. Hopefully, we have developed the methodology, and we are going to test it to assess all the maturity of the research and development activity, not only the development, and taking into account of course, the TRL, but also the supply chain, the user, all the regulatory environment, and the sustainability also of the different pilots. And so, if you want to know more about that, there is a series of sessions in plenary tomorrow with the welcome to the newcomer in eShape. They will allow you to know what are the new incomer and the new onboarded pilot. So still working on the suspense. And also the plenary session that will give you some insight about sustainability and upscaling with a quick update on the comprehensive scaling and sustainability offering, the landscape in investment and funding around the EO activity, and also the marketing of the eShape pilot and the way we can really push on that in order to grow. So hopefully you will be interested by all these activity, and I hope that you will follow up all these different things. So let's go to something which is underlying also what we are doing. Excuse me, I made a small mistake. Okay, so it's something which is not really viewed often, but which, from my understanding, will be key in the future of all the activity due to the new the new issue on data and the new issue on privacy that have been handled by the European Commission, developing new tools for that. So in all the proposal now, there is a need to go to an ethics review that carried out by independent ethics experts. So it's usually a screening which is done first, and then there is an ethical assessment which is conducted. And the review should lead to requirements that at the end of the day becomes contractual obligation. And so that's a process we are following in eShape. And we are focusing on the compliance with the ethical rules and the standards and all the European legislation, the convention at a regional and global level, the international one, and all the declaration, the national authorization, ethics approval, etc., which is a huge amount of ethical aspect and societal and social aspect in what we are doing. And so I stress this point because it's something that the partner saw, because we asked them to contribute to this screening, but that most of the other attended does not seen. And I think it's key also in the European landscape to have this ethics in view in order to be compliant with the RGPD and all the other type of legislation that are set up and linked with ethics and social in H2020, and for sure in EuroGEO and Europe. So as these elements are key, we also want to propose to you some more information on that. And tomorrow you will have a plenary session showing what is ethic in eShape and how to secure it. And also in the breakout session of the afternoon, you can easily you can test in a demo the compliance of your personal data processing through a tool that will be demonstrated by our team about ethics, and you are more than welcome to participate to this discussion. So last but not least, we made progress not only on the different activities of eShape, but also in the different showcase. For us, we need to be able to handle all the research and technical questions that are related to a thematic area to have a champion. And that what we built through the showcase with the showcase coordination, which is our thematic champion, in order to manage the activity and also to have a clear focus on the thematic area of all the different pilots that are proposed within eShape. So that's key, and you will see that there is this matrix approach that allows to have not only the activity but also the showcase point of view. And you have at least the two first pilots that are accessible online, and you can test it or at least access it through eShape on this link. And you have the next sense web services, which came from the showcase on renewable energy, and the harvester season that came from the climate showcase that are available. And of course, keep an eye on this web page, because more will come in the coming months. At least the first prototype and the operational service on the long run will be available through this page. So keep that on your pointer, and I'm sure you will discover more about what we are doing. So you want to know more about that? There is a series of parallel breakout sessions on the last day that will be held from 10:30 to 12, and you have a room dedicated to each of these thematic areas with all the showcase presenting. So agriculture, health, renewable energy, ecosystem, water, disaster, and climate. And of course, you cannot attend to all the sessions at once. So if you want to have a feedback on what's happened in the different breakout session, you can have a view on the report session, on the plenary session that will be held just after this breakout session, and you are more than welcome to see the different progress and activity in the different showcase. So last but not least, for all of you, if you want to access to all the partners and to exchange with them, please use our help desk. That's the direct link. You will find it also on the website. It's very easy, very convenient, and you can really ask whatever you want to know about eShape on this help desk. It's open freely. You need to register to be sure that there is a follow-up on your question and that it's an easy exchange. So please feel free to use it, and that's also a way also for us to build a knowledge based on the different community that are using and on the different questions that are coming through this channel. Finally, when we saw the scene, we can tease a bit about what's happened on the future, that the question about what is coming next. So we have a lot in front of us. You see, we are just at the middle of the path, and there is a lot of interaction to build with the partner and with the EuroGEO community. And we continue with the GEO Week, EuroGEO workshop with the GEOSS, where we are going to propose a session, etc., and really to link with the EO community. Hopefully, there will be in the future month and before the next General Assembly a lot of new pilot release, and they will make and we will make them accessible. We continue to handle the new EO paradigms and tools. This means that we are really focusing on the new way to access to the data, to process it and to share it, but also to the new tools. And all the partners that are involved in eShape are also looking to artificial intelligence, to data cubes, to the crowdsourcing and other type of tools, to the institute, and so on and so forth. And so there is this continuous improvement of the different EO tools and EO means that are included in our approach. Of course, we will work to ease the access to the different platforms and links with the user community, continuing on co-design, user uptake, capacity building, and so on and so forth. And we really want to work on creating the best condition for the sustainability of pilots. But also on the long run, we are working to allow the sustainability of the strategic outcomes of eShape. eShape is here for 4 years, but we are already thinking that that what we are going to produce and the scheme and the different organization we are going to have set up and we are going to improve during the coming year are of interest on the long run for the community. And we will try to focus on how we can continue the work in link with EuroGEO and GEO in order to really develop a strong European EO sector and really promote all the use of Earth observation and promote the development of new jobs in this interesting domain. And of course, we will increase our visibility and dissemination of our finding and the link with user. So I want to thank you for listening me for such a long time. I hope you have now a clear view of the new things that happen in eShape since the last year. And if there are some questions, we will try to answer it with Erwin and Jean for the 8 minutes that we have before the next session. Thanks a lot. So Vicky, maybe if you can, or Angelica, if you can help the attendees to have to explain how we can ask some question and show or at least give them some inputs. I think it's through the chats. But if you wish to
yes, of course, I'd be happy to. Dear attendees, you can submit your questions via the live Q&A chat box on your browser. It is on the right-hand side of your video window.
So we had a first question coming from Esham El Askari about the availability of the presentation, and we answer through it where by the fact that we are going to register to record all the presentation, and that they will be made available through the website on after the General Assembly, hopefully rapidly, and that will be available to all of you. Any question or feedback from Erwin and Jean?
Well, Thierry, first of all, thanks a lot for this excellent presentation. I mean, it gave me a lot of appetite to go to, let's say, to listen to all of you in the next 3 days to come. A lot of material, and I especially appreciated your last message that you said that on the long run, you were already thinking about how you could, let's say, continue your work on the long run. As you mentioned, indeed, it's a 4-year project now, 1.5 years within this journey, as you call it. So let's say it's very important that already now you start thinking about how to bring all this knowledge you acquire and all these insights and so on, how we can keep this all together, but as well, of course, keep on, and that's of course the most important thing, keep on doing the job, essentially what you're doing now on making really EO data used and so on, and really for the benefit of all our youth, so that you keep on pushing to build this community and to build this potential in Europe. It is highly appreciated, and if we can support you on that, we should certainly not hesitate. Maybe something which, but I think it will become clear as well in the next days that you're clearly also talking with your partners, being ESA, for example, and the DIAS and many more. So I think this could also be a very good, could also help you significantly into continuing the work of eShape beyond the duration of the project. So it's highly appreciated, and thanks for that.
Thank you, Erwin, for the comment. For sure, we should. So the project in itself is of course our main focus in order to achieve our all what we promise to achieve. That's the engagement of any project, but it's also the idea of looking to the full community and to see what can we bring on that. And for sure, the result of the project will be, in one hand, the good part and the easy part that we can bring on that. But I think we are trying to build an environment which is hopefully open and really focusing on the development of operational services. So it's an innovation action, eShape. So this means that we have to focus on this innovation and to try to promote all the different tools, best practice, etc., that we can bring on the table in order to favor not only the development of service, but also the work behind that, and to have jobs at the end of the day for all the community in Europe. High-level jobs, but at least jobs that can be of interest for anyone, and that allow to take decision with at least all the potential information available through Earth observation. Thanks for your
certainly
comment.
And of course, I mean, as a next comment, of course, I mean, of course, we are all suffering, I mean, it's an open door. We are all suffering from the fact that we cannot meet in person and we have to do this kind of things, let's say, not live, online. But on the other hand, it also opens an opportunity that many people have been very creative in finding new channels to for outreach and so on, for example. And you mentioned as well the EO cafes, huh? And the EO cafe, I joined one session, and this is also a very powerful format, just very condensed in less than an hour, meeting people which are not, I mean, which it's very difficult to meet them in person because they are spread around Europe. But also this is a very important vehicle which you can, of course, use more in the future to spread your knowledge. And for example, also, as Jean mentioned, this voluntary collaboration within EuroGEO on the action groups. I think with having 27 and from tomorrow 32 pilots, you of course have a lot to tell there. And I would also encourage, for example, the showcase leaders to think about using these kind of communication tools and means as much as needed or as advised, let's say. So I think it also brings a lot of opportunity on reaching more and more people.
Thanks for the comment.
Thierry, I can add as well to what Erwin said, to say as well that remember always to catch all the opportunities to promote your work and present your the results of the pilots to the rest of the GEO community, so that it doesn't remain a European exercise between European, because I think there will be a lot of interesting and advanced capabilities in areas that are not often tackled by the GEO community. Regarding the long-term sustainability, and we didn't mention as well the long-term sustainability of EuroGEO initiative, but we are certainly looking forward to see how eShape can contribute and possibly play a role in the future EuroGEO Secretariat.
Thanks a lot for the comment, Jean. I think we don't have so much question for the moment, so I think we are going to be on time. So that's good that we are in time for the different session, because the work program is quite large. I think that if there is no more question, or if there is no question, I don't see any on the chat. We can go on the next session on time. That will be good. you can see in your tool that you can we have a kind of a reminder in the time remaining in the different session, and that we can go on and see what's happened. And so the next step for all of you will be to go back to the timeline and to choose the next session by joining the different live poster sessions that are going to start very soon. And hopefully we will see you rapidly. Thanks a lot for attending this session. The next plenary is at 11, and I hope to see most of you at that time. Thank you very much. Thanks, Jean, and thank Erwin for your presentation and for being there.
Thank you, Thierry.
Bye.